I can't believe I'm about to introduce the man I have on the phones right now. He's currently in Plymouth at the Theatre Royal, starring as Lt Columbo in Prescription Murder. You'll know him as Lieutenant Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica, Templeton Peck from the A-Team, the legendary Dirk Benedict. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning, Plymouth. Here I am. I'm down on the steps. I'm down on the Mayflower steps. I got to come down here and check this out and see where my ancestors came from.
Is this your first trip down to sunny Devon?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is my first trip.
And are you enjoying it so far?
I've only been here a short time, but I love it. Yeah, I like it. I like the feel of this place. It's not too big, not too small, just the right size. Before
we go on to chat about the A-Team, I've got to chat about the A-Team because I'm a massive fan. Obviously, you're here in the UK, back on stage where it all started for you. You're touring as Columbo. How did this all come about for you?
Oh, I was just sitting at home in Montana, minding my own business, and I got a call from an agent in London saying, "Hey, there's some people over here who really seem to be confused because they want you to come over and play Columbo and tour Britain, Great Britain." So, but it's the one thing I've kind of wanted to do as an actor is one last stage play, and England's a great place to do it because of the tradition of theater. And so, and then I read the script, and it's the original play. This predates the TV series. So I read it, and it was a wonderful part, and so I said, I'll do it, even though, I knew I was treading in dangerous waters because Peter Falk made it so famous. But it's been fun. Yeah, Plymouth is our last stop, and from here I go down to those steps. A ship will be here arriving, taking me home to America.
This is the last hurrah then for Dirk Benedict.
That's right. I planned it this way because this is from now on, and this is where Americans leave.
It's been a long tour for you. Obviously, you're saying this is the last stop for you. Have people kind of come along, die-hard Columbo fans, expecting you to do a Peter Falk? Because I'm sure I've read some of that. You've never watched a TV show, have you?
No, I never did. People kind of, I guess, don't believe me, but doesn't matter whether they do or not. I just never had happened to have watched it, and so I didn't bother to do it when I'm an actor, and I'm glad I hadn't seen it. I wanted to do it my way. Now I find out the Columbo people say I'm fairly close. I have the essence of the guy, but Peter Falk. But I think that's Columbo. If you read the script, there's not too many ways to play this guy. He is what he is. And the Big Mac is written. I mean, the Dirty Mac, the old raincoat. That's all part of it. The cigar is all part of it. The wife is part of it. The stumbling around, and that's all written in.
I can sort of see a pattern emerging as well for you, because you obviously started as Lieutenant Starbuck. You've been Lieutenant Peck in the A-Team, Lieutenant Columbo. I was just wondering, are you ever going to get a promotion, or?
Well, I didn't feel I could say no to a lieutenant. I just can't say it's a good thing I'm straight. I mean, I can't say no to a lieutenant. You offer me that, and I can't seem to move above that rank. I don't know what it is. I sometimes sign autographs, just lieutenant to the third power. Lieutenants three amigos, 3 lieutenants.
I sort of miss Battlestar Galactica, I have to say, but I very much watched the A-Team. Sad to say, I've got all the DVDs now. I've got some of the old annuals, some of the figures. Do you get fed up?
That was a classic show. What we achieved on television with that show, with the action and the special effects and the fights, and then the chemistry between the 4 characters. It was a tongue-in-cheek, cartoon, silly show designed for parents to watch with their children.
How did you get involved with this show? Because I noticed on the pilot show it was a chap called Tim Dunnigan who played Faceman, and then you appeared in the next episode after that, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, the part was written for me. I've talked about this. The part was written for me by Stephen Cannell, based on what he'd seen me doing in Battlestar Galactica with Starbuck. Because if you know the 2 shows, they're very similar. They're 2 parts. And they wrote it for me, but NBC, the network, refused to hire me. They hated me. They said absolutely not. So after 4 or 5 months of struggling, Cannell finally gave up and hired the guy that the network wanted. And then they went off and did it, and I thought that was it. I wasn't going to get to play that character that had been written for me.
Yeah.
So I was retired. It's funny, if they hadn't changed their mind, which they did after they did it, Cannell somehow, I never know how, but he finally got his way. He said, no, I want Dirk. I want Dirk to do this. So they fired him and they brought me in, which seldom happens. So, but I was going to quit the acting business. I kind of wonder what would have happened if they hadn't changed their mind. I'd probably become a famous writer by now instead of still stumbling around on stage.
Did you guys get on really well? I mean, it looked like it came across
Really
on the
well,
screen.
yeah. We were off camera what we were on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of banter, a lot of jibber-jabber, a lot of repartee, a lot of back and forth. It was, you know, very, very male kind of stuff, which you don't really see on television anymore. It's all girly stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Shows like Friends are wonderful, and they're clever, and they're funny, but they're all female. They're written from the female perspective. That, you know, it's very effeminate, you know, very effeminate. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's just it's the female kind of show. But the A-Team, if you watch it, it's a locker room. It's four guys talking the way guys talk to each other.
Yeah,
if you watch the Friends guys on Friends, or Will and Grace, they banter too, but it's girl stuff, you know.
What was Mr. T like to work with? Was he fun?
Oh,
was he hard work? Was he?
Yeah. Very deeply spiritual, very funny, very silly, very, very profound, and very funny. And talks a lot. We all talked a lot. I talk a lot, and Dwight. I was the quiet one, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
And you see Dwight quite a bit still.
Yeah, we're best friends. I see him all the time. We're coming over to Holland actually in October to do a show.
Yeah.
We're go over there. We sometimes show up together and sign autographs and greet fans and get up and do an hour-and-a-half show. We both enjoy it. It's just the travel kills us. We do it in America more because we don't have to fly so far. Yeah. And Mr. T, he's so busy making Snickers commercials. I don't. He lives in a different world. He's still very, you know. I've been retired raising children, so I'm not that. You know, I'm in the mountains of Montana. I've dropped out. I disappeared for about 20 years, actually.
Well, it's good to have you back. I have to say, though, that the Mr. T advert, when he arrives with the Snickers in the tank and he starts chucking Snickers at the bloke to get into the swimming pool, it's quite funny. Bless him.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the Snickers commercials, but I've heard that's what his latest shenanigans over here.
He basically goes around in a tank and starts throwing Snickers bars at people and stuff. It's a bit random, but it's quite funny. Obviously, the new A-Team film hits our shores, I think, in a couple of weeks. What are your thoughts on that? Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it. No, I've been over here.
Yeah.
And I haven't really had any feedback. It's really weird. Nobody that I know. It's funny. I have a feeling. You know, I was on the set.
Yeah.
So
we're going to see
I don't think it's going to be like the TV show because you can't. We were too silly. I mean, you know, movie stars like Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper are not going to be silly like us because they're too macho. You know, they won't do it. It's too much. They're too macho. They're too heroic. I mean, Bradley Cooper's like. He's going to be the next Robert Redford. I mean, Redford would never be stupid, silly like I was playing Bassman. You know, I made fun of myself. I was pompous. I was kind of supercilious, you know, the bassman with the ascot and the silk scarves and don't hit me in the face. Please don't touch and don't mess up my hair. All of that. That's Beau Brummel. It's a peacock. But it's not a movie star. Movie stars, these guys in this business, you know, they're pretty careful of that image, you know, like even Clint Eastwood when he was young. I mean, they do that. They're not going to mess too much with what they're famous for.